I would like to ask my audience a question. Who is more intelligent, Starlight Glimmer or Sunburst? Take a few seconds to think about it, pause the video if necessary, and start writing a comment with your answer. But do not submit that comment yet. A little while ago, I was asked a question on Tumblr about who I thought the smartest of the main six was, to which I replied the following. Twilight is the most book smart, Pinkie is the most intuitive, Rarity is the most socially savvy, Applejack has practical experience, Fluttershy is the most compassionate, and Rainbow Dash has a subconscious photographic memory. In their elements, any of them are the smartest, but when you take them out of that element, any of them will become handicapped. Back during Season 4, I talked about how just because Rainbow Dash was having trouble studying for her Wonderbolt test didn't mean that she was unintelligent or lazy. Though we are now on the opposite side of that spectrum, something very similar applies to Starlight Glimmer and Sunburst within the crystalling. While I believe in the universal effectiveness of learning through practical application, a fact that I have to constantly remind myself of is that this can only work to a certain extent. Starlight was shown in the flashbacks to be much more talented in the practical sense. Given years of experience, she was able to match Twilight in terms of raw magical ability. However, the pitfall with being knowledgeable in an exclusively practical sense is that someone like this can be extremely effective in solving a certain type of problem almost exclusively. Additionally, if someone whose intellect is geared more towards academics is forced into practical learning, their abilities will eventually stagnate on an often shallow plateau, as was the case with Sunburst. Conversely, someone who is well-read and absorbs static information very well is much more likely to understand a subject intimately. This will give them the ability to analyze something on multiple levels and understand how each of those aspects intertwine, making their problem-solving skills both fast and accurate. This is what we saw in Sunburst. But simply knowing the answer to a problem can only take you so far. Actually performing requires a completely different type of strength. For the physically strong, lacking academic talents will make abstract problem solving seem very difficult. With this in mind, I would like to pose the question again. Is Starlight or Sunburst the more knowledgeable magician? Take some time to think about it, and then add your answer to the comment you started typing earlier. Then, I would love to know whether or not your answer has changed, and if so, how and why. In order to be versatile and capable in what we do, academics and physical ability are needed in both abundance and balance. But how does someone achieve this when most people exhibit talents for one or the other? I believe that we have to be aware of where our talents lay. Then, you'll know where your weaknesses are so you can focus on making them stronger, while supplementing these efforts by continuing to practice your strengths. Through this, your academic and physical skills will eventually find a balance. Do not focus exclusively on one or the other. Focusing exclusively on your strengths will lead to the pitfalls I mentioned earlier. Focusing exclusively on strengthening your weaknesses will cause a negative balance, where progress on your weaknesses stagnates, and your strengths dwindle and fade from neglect, leaving you inadequate in both aspects. More often than not, friendship is what's needed to achieve this balance. Just like what we saw when Sunburst orchestrated a concert of spells using the various strengths of the royal family, working together with the intention of solving a problem for everyone's benefit will bring about a much swifter and more peaceful solution in the face of impending danger. Furthermore, it will teach those who are talented in practical applications a wider range of solutions that they can apply should a similar challenge present itself in the future. Further still is that those who are not physically talented will gain strength through their participation, making it easier for them to act on their own in the future, thus making everyone more versatile as an individual. However, a pitfall that we often face as individuals or within a culture is valuing one too highly above the other. Then, as we saw in testing 1, 2, 3, we devalue or overlook someone for not being naturally gifted in one or the other, causing some to gloat and others to lose sight of their own abilities. Through this, we not only hinder others with our lack of faith in their abilities, but we hinder our own abilities to learn from them. Then, through the subsequent bickering, problems that would seem basic in any other circumstances can go untreated for years, festering and becoming worse the entire time. Through this understanding, Sunburst was able to realize the potential his knowledge had in finding the solution. Through this understanding, Starlight was able to face her fears of her past and push through to apply the solution. Together, they realized that by valuing one skill set over another, they were unable to help each other or save themselves. Then, through this understanding, they were able to restore the Crystal Heart. So if we can remember that intelligence comes in many forms and work together to complement each other's strengths and weaknesses, then maybe we can figure out how on God's green earth the Alicorn baby seemed like a good idea. But more importantly than that, is maybe that we too can solve the seemingly impossible challenges that we so often face. And that's the moral of the story. If you have anything you would like to hear discussed or reviewed, you can drop your suggestions by following Brawny Buck on Tumblr or sending an email to bronydebates@gmail.com. Feel free to check out my Patreon to see how you can support my channel and what you'll get in return. This video was sponsored by Irish John's Short Films and Animations, as well as all of my other generous supporters. Have a great day, and I look forward to hearing from all of you soon.